Hey there. If you're watching this, it means we're taking a short break from This Week in Fantasy Movies. I just had a death in the family, and I need to be present for that. But the YouTube algorithm likes it when we keep posting, and you deserve at least something this week. For many years, I've been trying to make a film set in a proper fantasy world, but I've also been limited by the budgets I can actually get. My only feature film so far, Glehan and the Natives of Industry, was built on a web of follows, favors, and an unconscionable amount of volunteer hours. I'm proud of what we did, but I also know it's not sustainable. That's why I've been trying, since before COVID, to get a proper $1 million budget to make a feature film and pay my friends what they're actually worth. A couple $1 million is objectively a lot of money, but it's a drop in the bucket for pretty much any film out there. So it was with that in mind that I wrote Wizards of the Underworld, an urban fantasy conspiracy thriller set in a city where, 1,000 years ago, the kingdom banned magic outright. It started as a production hack to cut down on the amount of visual effects. But if you know me, you know I'm a world builder at heart, and I can't just let an idea sit without fully exploring it. So I asked myself, okay, why is magic banned? And the answers led to more questions and made me dig deeper and deeper until a simple story about grief became a sprawling conspiracy thriller about power. This movie has so much going for it. Obviously, there's maps and magic systems, but I also devised extensive histories of crime lords and noble houses and a whole orcish language. I could go on, but you deserve to see this yourself. So without further ado, please enjoy this excerpt from Wizards of the Underworld.
From the Black.
Let's go over it again.
We've gone over it a dozen times.
Abandoned loft, night. There's a rundown abandoned second floor studio space illuminated mostly by the neon lights across the street.
We only get one shot here. The plan has to be perfect. So I go in as Neria Calcedon.
You need the disguise?
If he finds out who I am, the quest is over.
A woman in silhouette quickly slips into a sleek dress and efficiently covers her silky hair with a braided blue wig. She is Mara Kurzbane, 33, slender, medium skin tone, has everything together. Her inquisitive glances belie more wonder than suspicion.
I sell him the seed, and you come in, crossbows at the ready, and arrest him.
At a table in the center of the room, Gedrin Kurzbane, 38, steps into the amber glow of a hanging lamp. He wears a steel armor, a green cloak, and a broadsword at his hip. Hardy build, dark skin, chiseled jaw, kind smile.
That's assuming I arrest the other crime lords in time.
Well, will you or won't you?
Mara applies a pair of fake elf ears. She's done this before.
Of course I will.
Because last time I asked you, you said you would.
Mara checks her disguise in a window reflection. She makes a minor adjustment.
Mara, I'll get them.
What if we had Russ take one of them in?
He's your backup.
But maybe he would do better leading an arrest. You know how hot-headed.
Gedrin makes Mara's hand.
Mara,
Mara gazes into Gedrin's eyes. She calms down.
I trust you. I trust Restolin, so trust me.
They hold each other for a moment. Mara and Gedrin kiss. Gedrin leads her to a bare, fold-out table with a large seat. Mara picks it up and pockets it. ELVEN restaurant, night. Mara steps into an Art Nouveau restaurant alone. Tuxedoed human and elven waitstaff introduce salads and fruit in perfect choreography. Mara approaches a large table. At the head of the table sits Rex Shiverspike, 48, a rotund, pale man in a ratty old suit and copious gray stubble. He's seen better days, but he keeps an attractive young elf on each arm. We can't guess the elf's genders. To Shiverspike, it's more about the attention.
Rex Shiverspike?
Nera Calcedon, at last.
Mara sits. Shiverspike snaps his fingers. A bearded human waiter pours a glass of blue wine for Mara. She gives him a glance and an appreciative nod.
Talk in the Underworld says you found a world tree seed.
It's possible.
What I want to know is why? Legendary mages would go to war over that kind of power.
They've gone to war over less.
But why would you have it? The seed alone could amplify an apprentice's mana and turn him into an epic sorcerer. But you told Fairstein here that you didn't know any magic.
I'm looking to sell.
In Vos? And let the king burn it to cinders?
You have ways to get around the magic ban.
Perhaps.
The waiter refills Shiverspike's glass. Mara unclasps her handbag and pulls out an acorn the size of a baseball. Cracks along its shell glow a subtle iridescent blue. Mara sets it on the table. Shiverspike leans in.
I'll admit, my associates would get a lot out of that little seed. I'll bite. Name your price.
12,000 gold crowns.
12,000. I think we can make that work.
The elf to Shiverspike's left pulls out a clinking leather pouch. Shiverspike slides it across the table to Mara.
Consider this in advance payment.
Mara opens the bag and pulls out a gold coin. She nods. Rolls a seat across the table. Shiverspike takes it and laughs.
What's so funny, Shiverspike?
Ah, that's quite the disguise, Nira. Or should I say, Mara Cursebane?
Mara looks down at her hand and is slowly turns to stone.
I expected better from the Lord Commander's wife,
You cursed the money.
and you were just here to frame me. I think we're even. Let me walk free, and I'll give you the counter curse.
The waiter draws a sword and holds it to Shiverspike's neck. He is actually Restlin Fairmall, 35. Tall, thin, light skin, righteous fire in his eye.
Give it now, or you die.
What? Who do you think you are?
Restlin pulls the beard off his face. He's very handsome and tightens the grip of his sword.
Captain Restelin Fairmall, Bose Enforcement Legion. Now give her the counter curse.
Mara gets up from the table and puts on a metallic bracelet, stopping the spread of the curse.
See, Shiverspike, you're not the only one with friends.
I still outnumber you 9-1.
Everyone stops what they're doing, pulls out wands and staffs, and points them at Mara and Restlin. They both leap back.
Well, I think we overestimated how many people eat at this place, don't you?
You go right, I go left.
Restlin nods. They charge in opposite directions. Mara fights the mages hand to hand, clapping anti-magic collars on them and leaving the mages unable to cast spells. Restlin hacks and slashes, cutting them down with elegant ferocity. Shiverspike ducks below the table and crawls with seed in hand. Restlin grabs Shiverspike by the collar and picks him up,
Oh, no you don't.
and throws Shiverspike into a chair. Restlin deflects spells with his sword. The restaurant's mages surround Mara, who backs up against Restlin and Shiverspike.
Get us out of here, Russ.
I would if I could, but
Armored knights kick open the door and file in, with Gedrin in the lead.
Rex Shiverspike, I arrest you by order of King Lindian.
Gedrin Cursebane?
The knights draw their swords in unison. The remaining mages point their wands and staves at the knights. Gedrin steps forward, Shiverspike, and kneels down to look at him in the eye.
Surrender. You'll go easy.
Ha! You think I'd go quietly? I have an army.
Shiverspike breaks free of Restlin's grip, grabs a seed, and proudly opens a portal to an empty room. Shiverspike gasps.
Did you really think we'd save your friends for later?
Shiverspike glares and jumps through the portal. Mara, Restlin, and Gedrin jump in after him. Old Bose continues. Shiverspike emerges from the portal to a bustling modern city, built out of the old brick buildings. Skyscrapers in the distance, cars whiz every which way. Shiverspike runs up the street as Mara, Restlin, and Gedrin emerge from the portal. The chase is on. Our heroes race along the sidewalk, ducking and weaving through passerby. Mara bumps into a patrolling knight.
Call for backup!
She grabs the knight's crossbow and shoots at Shiverspike, but the bolt changes direction and whizzes around him. Meanwhile, Restlin catches up to Shiverspike and tackles him. They crash to the ground and struggle. Shiverspike goes translucent for a second, passes through Restlin, and escapes. Restlin, Mara, and Gedrin glare after Shiverspike. Gedrin looks to the top of the building next to him.
Mara, climb up there and see what we have to work with.
Mara nods. Gedrin hands her a portable radio receiver. She runs inside as Gedrin and Restlin continue on. Old Boss, skyscraper, stairwell, night. Mara bounds up the stairwell. Dark street, night. Gedrin and Restlin round the corner to see Shiverspike far up the street. He ducks into an alleyway. Rooftop, night. The rooftop door clangs open and Mara runs up to the ledge. She looks at the streets below.
Get, take the alley. Russ, loop around to the other side. We'll cut him off there.
Dark street, night. Touching his earpiece, Gedrin nods. Restlin runs the other way. Gedrin draws his sword.
All teams, this is Lieutenant Cursebane. We need a pinster on the 3900 block of South Magnus Road.
Old Boss, streets, night. 6 Legion cars zoom down the street with sirens blaring. Rooftop, night. Mara looks down and watches Shiverspike, Gedrin, and Restlin. Alleyway, night. Shiverspike runs back and forth, seeds in hand. Knights roll in and form a shield wall. They close in.
Don't make this hard on yourself.
Now!
Russell and Gedrin duck. The knights fire their crossbows, but Shiverspike turns into a ball of mist. It separates, electrocutes the Legion cars, then flies into the nearby parking ramp and recombines into Shiverspike. He dashes away. Gedrin punches the ground. Rustlin gives a wordless roar, leaps to his feet, and climbs up the pillar of the parking ramp. Gedrin runs around and inside. Old Vos, skyscraper rooftop night. Mara looks across to the parking ramp. Shiverspike is at the top level. She pulls off her wig and uncoils it into a rope. Tying one of her heels to the end of the rope, Mara walks far away from the ledge. Then she runs forward, jumps, and swings the rope. It catches, grappling to the parking ramp ledge. Parking ramp net. Mara climbs the rope and reaches the top of the parking ramp. Mara, Rustlin, and Gedrin all surround Shiverspike.
It's over. Surrender. And I'll see to it the king goes easy on you.
With all this power? Fat chance.
That power will tear you apart.
Shiverspike chuckles. Rustlin goes for a tackle. Shiverspike sidesteps him and trips over the ledge. Shiverspike catches himself. The seat falls out of his hand to the pavement below. Shiverspike gaze. He flexes his hand to cast a spell, but it fizzles out. He hangs on by his fingernails. Shiverspike gives a panicked look. His grip gives up, but he's caught by an armored hand. Gedrin holds on to Shiverspike and smiles. Shiverspike hangs his head.
I surrender, Lord Commander.
Gedrin pulls Shiverspike up and claps him on the back. Shiverspike offers up his wrist. Rustlin hands Gedrin a pair of shackles. Gedrin puts the shackles on Shiverspike.
That's Shiverspike. You are arrested.
Legion Castle morning. Knights cheer and applaud up and down the well-lit hall, as if they put a police precinct in a medieval castle. The knights make a path for Gedrin, Rustlin, and Mara, now with a green constable's uniform draped over her shoulders.
Take this man to the dungeon.
The knights laugh. 2 guards take Shiverspike and walk him down the hall. The rest clear out and go about their day.
Congratulations, Lord Commander.
King Lendian, 59, approaches. The world weighs on his shoulders, and he thinks he does a good job at hiding it, but it's clear he's at the end of his rope. He's spiffed up in his crown and ceremonial armor. Now, not just for the occasion, he wears this all the time, for appearances.
Lindian, I'm glad you could make it.
I trust this means the crime lords are all accounted for?
All they need is your verdict, and they will be as good as gone, my king.
Lendian pats Gedrin on the back.
Excellent. Lieutenant Cursebane, I've heard of your exploits, tracking totem shipments, eradicating dangerous potions, and your work last night is sure to become legend.
Thank you, Highness, but I'm really just a humble servant here to preserve and defend those.
Be that as it may, you clearly have a knack for hunting down evil wizards. As such, I'd like to promote you to Inquisitor for all magical affairs.
Whoa. You want her to enforce the magic ban? Hey, I've been in the Legion longer. Where's my promotion?
Captain Fairmall's talents are best used elsewhere.
He means you're too cavalier.
Rustlin throws Gedrin a playful punch.
Well, Lieutenant?
Mara can't form the words. Gedrin shoots her a worried glance. Kurzbane apartment night. It's a quaint modern apartment, very lived in. Awards and tokens from past exploits adorn the walls. Every shelf is filled with books on law, metallurgy, biology, alchemy.
What's there to worry about?
The front door opens. Mara tosses the keys aside and closes the door. Gedrin goes to the countertop and starts cooking.
We're a team. You, me, and Ress. That's how it's always been.
Of course, but we have to play to our own strengths too, right? This would free me up to investigate the wizards in our underworld. I could stop people like the crime lords before they ever get into power.
I'm still not convinced it's a big problem.
You can't be serious. The last magic inquisitor wound up in a sewer drain and his insides on his outside. And why? Because we're slacking on the magic ban.
Mara hops up to sit on the kitchen counter.
That investigation isn't finished.
Of course, but we both know that's how Torvin died, right? He crossed some desperate mage and got the wrong end of a wand.
Gedrin sighs. He cuts himself chopping mushrooms. He sucks on the cut. Mara hops down and picks up where he left off.
Those is supposed to be the final bulwark against the magic wards. Out there, it's all chaos and power plays, but in here, we found a way to thrive without magic. But we can't inspire peace with our neighbors if we don't take care of our own house first.
Gedrin leans on the counter. He nods.
All right. If you really want this, I'll support you.
I really do.
But you're about to learn that there's so much more going on than you're about to learn that there's so much going on than what you see on the surface.
Isn't that the whole point of the Inquisition?
That's not what Never mind. Just know that I'll need all three of us at our best really soon. So don't you go dying on me too.
Gedrin poops Mara's nose. She giggles.
As if that would ever happen.
They kiss. Throne room day. Mara kneels before Lendian as he ceremoniously raises his sword and taps her on the shoulders.
I, Lendian, second of my name, king of all Vos, hereby deputize.
Gedrin and Restolin stand behind Mara. Several council members stand behind Lendian. Pure sunbeams shine through the huge windows as Mara smiles and bows her head. She rises and turns.
I present to you Inquisitor Mara Cursebane.
Hail,
Hey,
Inquisitor!
Let's get started, shall we?
Thanks for watching. If you liked this break from the usual routine, please let us know in the comments. We very much want to do more variety like this, and your feedback helps us figure out what makes the most sense to do. We'll be back to our usual format soon, so with any luck, we'll have more in fantasy movies next week.